Hey, it's time for an action-packed episode. We're going to recap 90 Day Fiance before the 90 days. For those of you that don't know, 90 Day Fiance is a reality show. It follows couples, one person from the US, the other from another country, and it follows them as they navigate, everyday relationship issues, long distances as well, um, cultural barriers, language boundaries, trying to navigate into getting married, all of the legal ramifications, and all learning all of that information and how to navigate that. It is 90 Day Fiance, and this particular spin-off is before the 90 days. All right, Tiger Lily and Agnon are married. She has her little young 20 something, and she's in her early 40s. And seems like they had a great honeymoon. Now, the next day, they're going to have their official wedding with the whole family there. It could be up to about 200 people that will be there. She's getting ready. He's going to his brother's house to get ready. But he can't leave her alone with her friend, who's the hairstylist and a male. So his partner is a female. So he's like, hey, keep an eye on her because I'm not really supposed to be leaving you alone with this guy, so I need you to keep an eye on my wife, so because she can't be left alone with another man, even though they're friends or whatever, and he's been doing her hair forever. So they're like, okay, cool. After he leaves, of course, the friends are questioning, like, how do you feel about this scenario? You can't be left alone with a man, even men that you know or have known for years. And she kind of says she likes to be considered his prize, and so protective of her and possessive, which I think is crazy to want that. And in a way, I understand. They are in a hotel room in this scenario. I'm like, okay, you can't be left alone with a man in that scenario. And then I kind of understand on some level, some places you shouldn't be left alone with a man. I mean, it's just more of an issue of safety. Now, we have friends, we have family, we have people we trust, fine, but a strange guy, I get that element. But if it's people you trust, people you know, people you're always around, um it can seem possessive, but it does kind of make sense at the same time, depending on the context and where you're at and all of that. But I definitely don't agree that this is normal and this is okay, and that I would feel like a prize if someone was so possessive over me, especially after he had his honeymoon with her. He officially feels like she is his. So he has a deeper set of feelings now. The friends are like, don't you feel like this is controlling? Again, she's like, she's good with it. She feels like it's cute that he is doting over her like this. Then they talk about, the honeymoon night and how he was able to perform in such a way that it seems like he knew what he was doing, even though he said that he was a virgin. And so they're still trying to figure that out, even though Tiger Lily says it's natural. Men just know what to do. It's just a natural thing. I'm not really sure how true that is, but you're asking the wrong person when it comes to that situation. So I guess we'll see or not see, or I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe he can give us an explanation later on in some of the future episodes. Well, let's go to Brian, and actually I'm going to skip Brian and Ingrid because I think that they have like the biggest tea of all. So I'm going to go to the next couple, and I'm probably going to save them to the end, guys. All right, we have Faith and Lauren. Now, Lauren is really revealing how much money he doesn't have. He only has $46. He's exchanging that into pesos. Faith does ask a lot of good questions, but she's asking at the actual time of meeting Lauren. I think it's something you probably should have asked beforehand, but when sometimes you don't get in those situations till you meet a person. That's why long distance online dating, people can control this narrative so well. Can't do that too much when you guys are in the same country. If Faith is considered a lady boy and considers himself as female but cannot be transgender due to the fact that they have laws against altering your body. But that's the situation. Had to give you a little background on this couple. And Lauren is attracted to people of that nature. So after Faith finds out that he only has $46 to his name, on the trip anyhow, is how he's letting us see it. But she's like, this is a little bit sus. This is all you have for your trip. So they go out to shopping in the market, and Faith's like, we need to shop on a budget since you don't really have a lot of money. And that might last you like 4 days, and you're supposed to be here for like 20 days. So that's not going to last you, right? But it lasts him long enough. He's having a great time in the market because the conversion rate of the money is a lot lower. I guess he bought himself some shoes, like some slip-on shoes, looks like Crocs. He bought Faith a dress. So he's buying things here and there. He feels like he's a millionaire at this point. He loves the market and the prices, and first time ever he feels like he can afford things. And he feels like he really wants to live here because he'll have the financial stability he never had. But he has to think about it. He's going to have to go back to the U.S. to make U.S. money, or either get some type of an online job which would allow him to make money and convert it there, in order for him to have this financial stability, this newfound financial stability. Because if he lives there and works there, he's going to be getting paid the same amount that they're getting paid. So that's not really going to make any sense unless he's able to get a job and get U.S. funds and change it over. So I'm not sure what his logic is or was on wanting to move there, but we'll talk a little bit more about the fact of that information that Faith doesn't know. But yes, Faith is happy at first, because Lauren is spending their money on her, and she's like, this is generous. Most men don't do this for me. But she also sees it as impulsive because he doesn't have much money to spend. So, Faith is seeing all the red flags. Not sure they're going to just collect them all in their back pocket and pull them out later. But, Lauren said, I told Faith my situation, and it seems like she's okay with it and she's accepting of me. So cut to them meeting her friend, who's considered their second mom. They call Mama Ding. And Mama Ding says, okay, this is nice that you have your first boyfriend. She's telling the producers that Faith has her first boyfriend, but you need to learn everything about this person first. Don't just jump in head over heels, right? So as they're having their meal and chatting and talking at Mama Ding's place, the plan is revealed that, Lauren wants to stay there and live there. They're homeless in the U.S. And Mama Ding's like, oh, wow, really? Faith doesn't look too happy about this information being revealed. I don't know if he ever revealed it in that way, but, they kind of left us hanging here at that meal. And then they'll cut to later on where Lauren, he gets a text or some information that, he had a one-nighter with someone, and it was a situation. I'm trying to say it where it'll be cleared by YouTube and everyone, but it was an alternative sexual situation, I'll say that, which caused him to receive gonorrhea in his male part. And that person has gonorrhea of the mouth. So what he's telling us is that this person gave him gonorrhea. And on the flip side, in my head, I'm like, well, maybe you could have already had gonorrhea and gave it to that person that now has gonorrhea of the mouth. Very complicated. Very red flag everywhere. I'm sorry, I could not like because we're on TV. No, I was gonna say because we're on TV, I may try to bear through this scenario, but yeah, if I was Faith, I'm sorry, I would be like, I'm done with this. I don't care if we're on TV. It's a reality show. I'm supposed to be who I am in reality, and I'm like, dude, I'm done. But Faith doesn't know this information yet. Only us, the producers, know, and the viewers know. So we're gonna see what happens when he tells Faith. He says, we can't kiss, and that's how he opens up this conversation next time, or whenever they reveal more of this story. So actually, that was pretty crazy too. Brian and Ingrid, I am gonna leave last, but that's pretty wild with this guy. I have to mention that during the dinner with Mama Ding, Lauren revealed that yes, they do want to stay in her country and not go back to the U.S. And Faith says, they always want to go back to the U.S. and Lauren knew about this the whole time. So why are they now changing the plan? Just red flags everywhere with this guy. I'm sorry. Let's go to Miles and Matilda, a new couple. Matilda is from Ghana. Miles is here from the U.S. I believe he's from Alabama. I have family there. Shout out to the fam there. They've been talking for 2 years online, met online. Miles is very much into role-playing and fantasy games. You see him playing with a few friends. It looks like they're at a community center, a convention, or event or whatnot. He's obsessed with gaming. Symbiosis is what he calls it. When people come together to be more than some of their parts to make something impressive. And that's how he feels about the role-playing and fantasy gaming with others. Growing up was difficult for him in school. He wasn't very good in school, and he wasn't able to get along well with others. So he found out a little bit later on while growing up in school that he had autism spectrum disorder. He can be very blunt. He's not very good understanding nuances. His senses are heightened. He can be overstimulated very easily. And he has a job as a peer advocate. So I guess with other people with autism, he helps and advocates for them. So I think that's like a great job for him and what he's doing. Again, he met Matilda, but she DM'd him. And but he said that she accepts him. They have a great relationship, and he just couldn't help it. One day he just proposed over the phone, and now Matilda's thinking, okay, as soon as you come on your first trip to my country, Ghana, we are gonna get married. So he's talking with his co-workers, and it's like he's telling them that situation, and they're like, well, are you sure about you guys getting married right then? Are you going to tell her that you're not sure about doing that? And, he's like, I'm not sure. I'm a little bit scared. I don't know if I want to tell her. I don't know how she's going to take it, how she's going to feel. So that's the issue, and that's, what's upcoming between that new couple as they go forward in their relationship. Will they or will they not get married on the first meeting? I mean, come on, Agnon and Tiger Lily did it. I mean, why not? It's possible. All right, Via and Sunny. We met them last time, and you find out this time that Via is a physical therapist. And she also likes to do something with Sunny that I really didn't think this was going to happen. I think this happened back on another season or another spin-off of 90 Day, but she likes to take a shower and bring the phone in there with her so that Sunny can participate with her. So I was a little shocked on that as well, because he's also Muslim, but she said he's not very strict. He still goes to clubs and drinks, etc., but his parents are strict. And I'm pretty much guessing that his parents probably think he's doing all the good Muslim things, but he's kind of doing what he wants. So I was a little surprised that, they did this thing with the shower. Not something I'm used to seeing when it comes to Muslim lifestyle. And who knows what Agnon did with Tiger Lily, but they got married within like 4 or 5 months. So I think that that's why there was such a rush wedding. Um, when it comes to Via, she's not really good with strict religious beliefs and people being strict when it comes to religion, because she grew up in foster care, and one of the homes she was in was very strict. They had to wear head coverings. It looked Amish. Not 100% sure. But they were forced into that religion. They had to do certain things. Everything was scheduled out in a certain way. They were just very strict and controlling, and she just wasn't happy with that scenario. So she's been traumatized by that. And she's wondering if Sonny's going to ask her to become Muslim. He's like, well, as your boyfriend, I do have the responsibility to ask you. I'm not saying that I want you to, but I need to ask you. So, kind of, yeah, he wants her to be Muslim. But she's saying to herself and the producers that she wouldn't convert for anyone. If that's something she doesn't want to do, she's not going to do it for a relationship. Which I think, for the most part, most of us would probably agree. But, there's some, like the show Forbidden Love, there's some on 90 Day that have converted. So, it's possible. She's going to get herself a spray tan for Africa. I don't know if you really need to get yourself a spray tan, or if you're trying to fit in color wise. I'm not sure why you would do that. Maybe she's not able to tan naturally because she can do that and put on sunscreen, but it's not always the most healthy thing to tan anyway, even with those tanning beds. So I get the fact that she would do the spray tan. But why she feels the need to do that, I'm not sure. She drops her dog off at the center. The dog is very high maintenance, needs a lot of care, and she's almost going to cry as she drops the dog off. But she is going to be going up there with her friend Rory, and he's kind of accompanying her as she does her last minute things before they leave for this trip. And no, Sonny does not know he's coming. And she also says that Sonny can have some anger issues. She's not even sure if she's going to tell him, when she's going to tell him. So Rory's kind of put in a situation here. He does feel like he needs to accompany her because he's traveled with her before and she's gotten lost, and he just feels like she needs someone. They still have a good friendship bond, but I mean, anyone could kind of mistake that for, hey, are you guys still together? It can be questionable from outsiders, and definitely Sonny may be questioning it. She shows us a little bit, or tells us a little bit of her background with Rory. She lets us know, her mom is homeless at the time. Her brother was killed by the police, and she was pregnant with Rory's baby. And I think that they alluded to the fact that they lost the baby or something like that happened. And it was painful, and they were just they dealt with things differently, and it kind of grew apart. But her brother was killed by the police, I think, around the same time where she was pregnant with the baby. So her and Rory kind of have a deep history there. I don't know. I feel like there may be some unfinished business between these two. I mean, I don't really see a love connection between them, but I do feel like there's still some type of connection that they maybe need to, have some closure on by the time they go on this trip, or before they go on this trip. It's too late. They're on their way. So sounds like it's going to be a little bit messy over there with Via and Sonny. I think that's kind of just the theme of this season and the theme of this particular spinoff at this time for this season. All right, we're going to close with Brian and Ingrid, and as we know, they spent the night at a hotel together. Nothing happened. He feels she may have been turned off by all of the information about his disability and all the things that he has to do, and all the things that she might have to do to help him. And she just didn't want to know all the information all at once. It's the first night. I'm sure she wanted to have a romantic time with him, but I think she felt a bit overwhelmed. They wake up, they have a morning kiss. They're both happy about at least having that, and no harm, no foul that nothing else happened as far as what Brian feels. She wakes up with lipstick on her lips. She's like, "Hey, you had lipstick on all night?" She's like, "No, I actually have permanent lipstick, like a tattoo lip or something," which I thought was a little bit weird. I mean, it's fine if that's what you want to do, but um, why can't she just put lipstick on? I don't know. She must. She said. I think she said, "I look beautiful going to sleep and beautiful when I wake up." Okay, sure, whatever. However you feel about it, no hate. It's just a little bit different. I know people did that when it was popular. I feel like a decade or two ago or something, but I don't know. People do tattoo on their eyebrows too. I heard that, so they'll just always have perfect eyebrows. There's a lot of stuff I don't get, but anyway, um, she kind of expresses and continues to express she thought that he would need less help when it comes to his disability. He seemed like, he's in a wheelchair and he went through a major accident that caused it. And she was just like, the way he was presenting himself online for what I think the last 2 years, he was basically very independent, didn't need help with anything, but he continues to need her help even as in the next day when they wake up together in the hotel. I believe he continues to ask for her assistance for like the shower and things like that. So he still needs some help. He wants to meet her family. I think it's like a 2-hour plus drive to get to her house. So they're gonna go to the hotel to her home, and he's gonna do all the driving. Again, they're going to her home, but he's like, I want to meet your family. She's like, no, my dad, he's ignorant and all of this. She talks kind of bad about her dad. She's like, I really haven't told my family really much about you. And she's like, how old's your dad? Like, I think she said somewhere like in his 50s. And he's like, well, I'm 51. He's like, around my age. She's like, what? I thought you were 45. And I do remember her saying something about him being 45. And I was like, somebody needs to clear this up. Like, what's the truth? And she said, he lied on his profile. So, that's another thing that I'm kind of surprised about, his age difference. And she's like, okay, so now what's next? What else will be revealed with this man, right? He's like, no, he insists he's always been honest with his age and he's not ashamed of telling his real age. So who's telling the truth here? I do kind of believe that he had to have put something on his profile that said that age. Now, maybe he started his profile at 45, never changed the age, which is very convenient not to do. That's a possibility. Or maybe, he said, it says 45, but, maybe he feels like he told her his real age is not 45. I've heard of people lying about their age, and we know Miss Debbie lied about her age in one of the other 90-day spinoffs. So people can do that, especially if you can live up to that look of okay. And some people suspect Angela has been lying about her age and she continues to be the same age forever. Another person from the 90-day universe. Who's telling the truth here? Finally, they're in the car and, they start talking about the accident, and she's like, well, tell me exactly. You never really told me completely what happened, how you got into this accident. So he reveals to her, I used to be a drug dealer. I used for 5 years, and I was a dealer as well. And she's really shocked by this information. And he says, I was trying to give up that life. I was married to my second wife. I was trying to give up that life. So I was like, I'm done with this. And I'm leaving you, and I'm out of here. And like a couple months later, a couple guys came after him. He was trying to defend himself with his weapon. They took their weapon, and that's what happened. And he ends up being in a wheelchair. And she questions him for like, why didn't you tell me this information previously? If I would have knew that you were into drugs, you were a drug dealer in your past, I probably would have gone further with this relationship. She's like, well, what if after we get married, you go back to your drug habit? And she's like, well, maybe because you're in that chair now, that's why you're not able to go get the drugs, because you're in a chair now. something of that nature, which I felt was kind of cruel, the way that she kind of did that. So once they get to the hotel, well, he does tell her, I'm over that life, I'm not like that anymore. They go to the hotel, he gets in the pool, and he does this all independently. I feel like he has something to prove now. Um, Especially since she made that reference about his chair, and that's why he's probably not doing drugs anymore, because he can't get to it. And that was a pretty bad put down, and he lets the producers know while he's in the pool trying to chill out, recharge, refresh, and like just try to reconfigure about what just happened here. She's inside getting food at the hotel while he's at the pool, and she's giving her thoughts too. It's like, again, like, I would have never been in a relationship with this person if I would have knew their past. This is not what I expected or anticipated. And to me, I do feel like she's being a little bit mean. I mean, there may be speculation in my mind about this person, but I would definitely not say this to their face. But I feel like she's kind of fed up by a lot of different misinformations of what she believes as him not being as independent as he said, as his age difference is not the same as what his profile was and what she's believed this whole time. I think it's been a couple years. And now he finally tells her that he was a drug dealer. So it's a lot. But her reaction, I feel like, is a little bit over the top as far as how she said what she said. Now, hey, you do have all rights to say, I'm not happy with this. You should have told me this information. But to talk about him in his chair, I think she took it too far in that direction, and I feel like she shouldn't have gone there. Honestly and truthfully, but he's given a big cause for alarm here, and she's like, all these lies, it's ruining the relationship and the situation. And I understand where she's coming from on that level, because if he would have, they would have talked for like a few months, they were building their bond, and then he dropped it on her, that would have been better. He waits 2 years, saying, I'm going to do this face to face, is what he said. She would have taken it better. That's not good, because it looks like you're being deceitful and lying. Like, a lot of times people think, well, they're not going to be able to take this information, so they're not going to accept me. No, what you do is you make a connection with that person. You're online. Once you do feel like you guys at least have a decent friendship, a decent enough bond, then that's when you tell information. I understand if you don't want to tell right out the gate, because people will have an impression of you. But once they get to know you, and then you tell them information, then she may have continued to talk to you. And seeing that, okay, you are a good guy just because you have a past, and continue a friendship. It may have taken her a little bit more time to warm up to you and say, okay, maybe this can be a relationship, but yet and still, you got that information out, you told the truth. But when people tell you stuff all the way late, right when they're meeting you, or I'll just say a couple of years after they've known you, that's too long to hold that information in. Because it's a scenario where they can't meet each other or see each other because they're in different countries, it takes a couple years. People, again, don't drop everything when you first meet someone. Give it a few days, make a connection. And if you don't have a connection, you can walk away. They don't need to know anything else about you. But if you do make a connection, you should feel open enough to tell them the truth about you. Please don't make a mistake. That mistake, men and women, if you have secrets in your life, or things that you feel intimidated about, or things that you feel people are going to judge you on, please don't wait till the last minute or till you have that person in a compromising position and then tell them, or after you get them in a compromising position and then tell them. Like, he spent the whole night with her. They could have slept together. I mean, then the next day you're going to tell her, what if she had slept with him? Then how would she have felt? Probably even worse, the fact that she didn't know this person she just slept with. So please, people, Be honest. If you feel like you've made a connection with that person, most likely they're not going to just throw you away and disconnect with you on the spot. And if they do, then that person just wasn't the person for you. You don't have to lie. If you're not upfront, I'm not saying be upfront day one, because there's things in my life I don't feel comfortable with telling people upfront. And I don't exactly feel like it is a secret, a lie, or something really negative. It's just personal things that are emotional and close to my heart that I don't just tell anyone and everyone. Yeah, you don't tell them day one. A few months in and you guys have a bond, you feel like you could trust that person. Yeah, okay, I'll tell them. I'll give them information. And it depends on the type of bond we have. Friends only know so much information about me. I don't tell my friends everything. If we have a personal relationship that may lead to marriage, that may lead to a long-term relationship, you'll know more about me than someone that's just my friend. So there's limitations on some of the information that I share, because you have to be in a certain personal zone with me for me to share that. But if you're intending to have an intimate relationship with someone and it's going to go to a certain level and that's what you guys are planning, you're both on the same page with that, you definitely need to be upfront and honest about some of these things that really can make or break your relationship, some things about you and your life that you just need to tell. Don't leave it at the end, because you're gonna look like a liar, you're gonna look like a fake. And then certain thing, what did he say? He said he wasn't ashamed of his age. He said he wasn't ashamed of his past. But all I see is shame, 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 because he's like, I don't even know if it's really true about the age situation, because he's saying he told her the truth, but it seems like she's just now finding out about his real age. And that should be something you can find out in 2 years. Why does she have to be face to face with you to know the age? And now she's just now finding out about the real reason for your accident, that you were a drug dealer. If you had no shame in that, you should have told her a few months in. You should have told her when you felt like you guys had a good friendship and a good bond. I think that's the best time to tell someone. And people think that they might lose that person. Again, that you just may have to lose them because they aren't the person that's going to work with you. So why make them go through all this just to end up losing them and wasting their time in the interim in the first place? You're doing yourself and themselves a disservice. They're not going to give you a chance if you wait till so many years in to tell them. Like, they'll give you a chance if maybe you wait a few months in. Then that's reasonable to wait that long. But if you wait 2 years in to tell me some really deep information about yourself that I need to know, no, I'm not going to give you a chance, because you do come off as a liar, and I don't know if I can trust you. So that was a lot to say about the scenario. Crazy. But this is your 90-day fiance before the 90 days. So we'll be talking more about this and other things, faith, love, and trends right here on CBiz Media. Comments, thoughts, questions, email me at cbiztv@yahoo.com. And remember, all the best. God bless.